You are listening to the Horse Radio Network, part of the Equine Network family.
What a beautiful day for horses in the morning.
You are listening to the #1 horse podcast in the world. Here's your entertaining look at the horse world and the people in it.
Good morning. I'm Coach Jen from Ocala, Florida, and you are listening to Horses in the Morning on the Horse Radio Network for Monday, February 19th, episode 3368, brought to you today by WERM Flooring. Good morning, Horse World.
You have found Horses in the Morning on a Monday. You're in for an amazing horsey week of laughter, learning, and fun with Glenn and Jamie.
The Hit 'em crew is out and about gathering intel for upcoming episodes, so sit back and enjoy this mashup of previously aired masterpieces featuring a listener's fox hunting adventures with Fox-Pitt, Glenn's favorite recipe from Cowgirl in the Kitchen Jill Stanford, and how a small group of volunteers in Washington state help find horses and humans who get lost in the backcountry.
You want to introduce our first guest?
Absolutely. This is our auditor, Carrie, and she posted something on Facebook in the auditor's room that I choked a little bit because most people don't take pictures fox hunting next to William Fox-Pitt. What?
I know, right?
How is this happening?
Did you get his phone number?
Good morning.
Did you get his phone number?
I don't have his phone number. I could probably work on that. But the super short version of the story is he had a clinic that was canceled in New York. Why you cancel a clinic with William Fox-Pitt, I don't know. I guess they couldn't fill it, which is kind of ridiculous. So anyway, he has some friends from England, Daisy and Richard Trayford, and he called them and he said, "Hey, I'm stuck in New York. I have a flight in on this day and I'm there for 3 days and a flight out on that day. And this clinic was canceled and I've got nothing to do. I'd really like to fox hunt somewhere in New York. Do you guys know of anything?" And they said, "Well, funny story. We actually just moved to New York and we moved to the neighborhood where the oldest fox hunt in the country is, Genesee Valley Hunt. And we will pick you up at the airport, fly in here, and we'll take you hunting." And he said, "Okay, cool." And so they contacted the huntsman and said, "Hey, are you willing to do this?" And she said, "Yeah, that would be great." And she said, "Do you think he'd teach while he was here?" "Oh, well, I don't know. We can ask him." They said, "Do you want to teach while you're here?" "Yeah, sure, whatever." So I get this text, "Hey, William Fox-Pitt is coming. Do you want some lessons?" And I sort of texted back and I said, "Sorry? What?" "Well, here's the deal. This clinic was canceled. He's coming. Are you interested?" And I said, "Yeah." They said, "Do you think we can fill it?" I said, "If you can't fill it, I will fill it myself personally with my horses and my clients." So they said, "Okay, great. We'll set it up." And I said, "Okay, fine." So they sort of said, "Well, what do you want to do?" And I said, "Well, I've got event horses. I've got a Grand Prix dressage horse. I've got fox hunting clients. I've sort of got whatever you want." And they said, "Okay, well, we'll come to your place. We'll do a couple lessons. We'll take him hunting in the afternoon. We'll do a hunt breakfast, and then we'll have him teach on a cross-country course the next day." I'm like, "Okay, done, sold." So he showed up here, and I had a private lesson on my Grand Prix horse, which I wasn't, obviously he's an incredibly accomplished dressage rider, but does he know about Piaffe and Passage? Who knows? And I contacted a friend of mine and I said, "What do you think?" And he said, "Well, I don't see how it can be bad." And I said, "Okay, sold." Good point. So it was great. He was great with that horse. And then I jumped a novice horse with him. And then I jumped an intermediate horse with him. And then we went hunting that afternoon with the Genesee Valley Hunt. And a friend of mine, a client of mine, her husband, Paul Roebuck, comes and takes pictures. And so he caught that picture. I was only behind William for about 3 minutes in the hunt, but he caught that picture. I'm like, "Oh, this is a great picture. I'm going to have to post this everywhere."
Or, oh my gosh, that's the kind that you blow up and you get made into canvas and you put it like in your living room as a centerpiece. Okay.
Right.
That was
life
awesome.
size. Yeah.
So let's
we
talk.
Hunted and go ahead.
I was just going to say, keep going. So you hunted. Go ahead.
So we took him out hunting, and he rode one of Richard and Daisy Trayford's horses, a 5-year-old, and hunted. And it was crazy muddy, and it was a great hunt. I think we put 4 fox to ground or something. An amazing hunt. And we had breakfast, quote unquote breakfast.
No, wait, hold on. How did he ride? Was he able to ride okay? Did he keep up with you guys?
He seemed to do okay. He seemed to stay on. That's fine.
He looked so huge on that horse in that picture too, Carrie. He looked so big on that horse.
Yeah, he does. It wasn't a huge horse, but he obviously he had a grin on his face the whole time. I mean, how can you not? You're fox hunting in the Genesee Valley. You're covered in mud. You've jumped 1,000 coops. You've seen fox. You're not teaching. More importantly,
you're just having fun. Yeah.
So right, yeah. So. Yeah, he had a great time hunting, and he came to the breakfast just like any other member of the hunt field would, and had conversations with everybody. And he's very down to earth, and he's very kind, and just a regular kind of guy. And then the next day he taught on the Genesee Valley Hunt horse trials course, and he did a couple of groups. He did a beginner novice group, a training group, and then he did a fox hunters group. So he took a bunch of the fox hunters out, people who don't really event, and just played with them and did coops and jumps and banks and water and all kinds of fun stuff on that day. And then ended up flying out. I think he went to Wisconsin. And then I actually ended up driving to West Virginia on Thursday to ride with him again at Sharon White's. And that had been planned for months. So the fact that he actually came here and was standing in my indoor arena giving me lessons was a bonus. So I just got back from West Virginia and riding with him there, where we did more cross country and more show jumping stuff. And again, just a kind, down to earth kind of guy.
Really? So he's just super nice and not pretentious and not like, I'm an Olympian, I'm amazing.
No, not at all. Not at all. He was talking to me about using double reins on the bit that I had on my horse. And he said, on chilly morning, I had double reins on that horse. And the first third of the course, I went out on the top rein, and the middle of the course, I went out on both reins. And then by the end of the course, I was on the bottom rein. And, it was just telling me, you just have to go with what the horse needs, just common sense. I mean, it was impressive. He's just like I said, just a kind, down to earth guy with incredible knowledge and, just information to share, which is always nice.
So a lot of these guys that are amazing and girls that are amazing riders have a really hard time communicating what they can do. So he's an amazing rider. Does he communicate that well? Does he teach well?
He does. I don't feel like he tried to micromanage. I think the hardest thing about a clinic is a lot of times, the clinicians have no idea who you are or what you've done. They can only take your word for what you've told them in the first 3 minutes kind of thing. And I think clinicians end up doing a lot of exercises as opposed to more, really detailed things. With the Grand Prix horse and the other intermediate horse that I had private lessons on, he was able to get a little bit more in depth. But, the stuff that we did at Sharon's was more exercises, but very good exercises. And hey, when you canter through the water, you need to make sure that your horse is taking as many steps through the water and in as short coupled as it possibly can be, as opposed to, running through the water and letting them be strung out. So you do a face plant, on the bank out kind of thing. Right. So it was educational, and that he was able to say, okay, this is the exercise that we're going to do here. And everybody come through and do the exercise. And okay, you did it really well, and you need to go a little bit slower, and you need to go a little bit quicker. And, obviously you can learn from the other people in the clinic as well. Absolutely. And that's valuable information.
That's great. So how did you do with your Grand Prix dressage horse?
It was pretty cool. It was pretty neat. So I sort of fell upon this horse by accident. I am an event rider, a professional event rider. And the super short version is this horse sort of came into my life by accident. And I had a naughty gray horse that I'd taken through Pre-St. George. That was an event horse that hated dressage. So I made him go to every dressage show and started working on my medals for the USDF stuff. So I ended up with this Grand Prix horse and finished my gold medal a couple of months ago. And, when you have somebody like William Fox-Pitt standing in your arena, how do you not ride every horse you can get your hands on with them? I mean, he's going to improve me no matter what, because I'm me and he's him. So,
right.
Yeah, very, very good. Very worth it. You know, you need to be more forward and your half pass needs to be a little bit steeper and, you know, you need a little bit more angle here and your changes could be a little crisper. And, you know, did he help me a ton with a piaffe and passage? No, but we didn't really work on that. And that's fine. The basic stuff, obviously he's very good at, obviously he's very good on the flat. So, and I think he enjoyed it. I think that was something a little bit different for him too. I don't think he sees that a lot.
He probably sees a lot of off the track thoroughbreds that have been ridden for about a year, you know, and they're all kind of probably the same problem. So yeah, how fun that was for a weekend for him to go out and fox hunt and teach clinic to hunters and to go out and have Grand Prix dressage horses and do all that. What fun.
Yeah. So he says he's going to come back. We said, now, can we get this in writing? You're sure you'll come back? Oh yeah, I'll come back next year. So we were teasing him. We do the Genesee Valley Hunt has the oldest point-to-point in the country, and it's a real point-to-point. It's not a steeplechase race. And he was asking about that, and we were telling him about it, and he actually wasn't able to stay for it. So he asked me in Virginia. He said, "How did it go?" I said, "Well, you see the laceration on my nose and the black eye?" I said, "It was great." And he said, "Oh no." He said something to the effect of, "Oh, you didn't finish." And I said, "What do you mean I didn't finish? Of course I finished." It's the last. Next year you have to do the point-to-point with us. He said, "Okay, I'm in." So we'll see.
Oh my gosh. So tell me real quick then, because you guys know I'm a little bit of a newbie to stuff like that. What's a point-to-point? It sounds like just a steeplechase, but on your own kind of thing.
So what they do is, it was the 138th running of the Genesee Valley Hunt point-to-point, and we call the answering service at noon, and they say, you need to report to, this year we went to the Granger Farm. You need to report to the Granger Farm. You need to be there at 2:45. You need to be on your horse at 2:50. So those are the only instructions that we get. So we show up at the Granger Farm, we get on our horses, and we get in a group. So I think there were 13 of us that were entered, and I think only 8 showed up. And so they give us the rules and they say, we're going to read the directions twice. And then I say, go, and you go. So they give you 2 points. So we started at the Granger Farm. They gave us checkpoint is point A. And that was at the Rochester stables, you know, the south side of the Rochester stables. And there's a flag there and there's people there to record. So then point B was in the Aiken Woods, and then the finish line was in the Triangle Lot. So you have to know the hunt country well enough to get to those points fast enough without using the railroad bed, without using a road. You can cross a road, but you cannot go down the shoulder of a road. You can cross the railroad bed, but you cannot go straight down the railroad bed. So there's some rules like that. So, you know, they read those directions twice and they say go, and you go. And I mean, it is flat out as fast as you possibly can to those checkpoints and then to the finish line. And usually, I mean, it's a full gallop. Usually it's sort of 7-ish miles, and, you know, the finish ride is usually somewhere sort of around 18 or 19 minutes. But it's pretty exciting, and you have to know the land. Obviously, if you don't know the land very, very well, then you're not going to be the fastest. So a lot of times you follow, there's a couple of key people that, you know, the huntsman who grew up there and now hunts the hound obviously knows everything. And then there's a couple of whippers in that also do it. So if you're smart, you follow those people because they know the fastest route, the shortest route. And you follow those people, and then if you're really, really naughty, you overtake them at the end. And
it's the only time in your life you're allowed to pass those guys, so take advantage.
Yes, exactly. So it's a ton of fun. It's usually we have a few casualties, and the policeman and the ambulance are at the start with us because it can be a little bit more exciting than it probably should be sometimes. But yeah, we have a great time, and there were more than a few of us that crossed the finish line with blood on our faces and mud everywhere. And I think everybody finished this year. Last year we had a couple of incidents with somebody that tried to run through a wire fence. They didn't see it and their horse didn't see it, and her horse flipped over it. Horse was fine. She was fine, but obviously she didn't finish. So then we just pick up our cell phones and call the start and just say, hey, we're at such and such and we're withdrawing, so that they don't send a search team out to look for us.
Man down. Unbelievable.
Yeah, exactly.
That sounds so exciting. Yeah. I don't know what's more exciting, that story or the William Fox-Pitt story. It's kind of both. I kind of like them.
It was all in the same week. So there you go.
That's amazing. What a heck of a week. Carrie, I'm so glad that you came on to tell us about this. And I cannot wait to hear more about your adventures with William Fox-Pitt. So on a scale of 1 to 10, like, so sometimes I think of clinicians and I get nervous about going to a clinician because sometimes they don't take the time to get to know you and know your horse and know, like, I've been overfaced in clinics before, but then I'm like, well, the clinician's telling me to do it. I should do it. Then I get myself in trouble. So how do you think he read all the people and trained all the people? Good. Would you recommend it?
Very well. Yes. And I agree with you. A lot of times you get into a clinic situation and it's not good and it doesn't end well. And you've paid a lot of money to be there and ride with a big name. And now you're dealing with a confidence issue because, they said, oh, no, it'll be fine. Jump this preliminary bank on your beginner novice horse. Right. And he wasn't like that at all. He was great. He just kept saying, look, if you're not comfortable doing something, don't do it. It's fine. But his big quote of the weekend was, well, just get on with it. Just get on with it. If it was if you did something and you messed up, he'd say, it's fine. Just get on with it. Just carry on. Don't worry about it. Mistakes happen. And he said, he said that I make mistakes. You're going to make mistakes. Everybody's going to make mistakes. Just get on with it.
Gotcha.
So, he's not much dwelling. Oh, that spot wasn't perfect. You really should have done this, that, or the other thing. He's not like that at all. So it was a nice relief to not feel like, oh, Jesus, I don't jump this bank. This person's going to think I'm an idiot. Well, that person probably doesn't know who you are tomorrow anyway, so I wouldn't worry about it. But no, very, very kind. If you're not comfortable doing this, don't do it. If you think it's too much for your horse, don't do it. You're the rider. You know your horse. This is the decision that you need to make. You need to make good choices. So yeah, it was great.
All right, Carrie, thank you so much. I'm so excited. Post some more pictures. We love hearing from you. Thank you so much for coming on to talk about it.
Well, you never know what Mother Nature's going to throw at you when you're out and about with your horse trailer, whether it's going to fox hunt with Fox-Pitt or something else. Make sure your trailer is up to the task. For example, does your trailer or barn bake under the summer heat? Are leaks turning the interior of your trailer into a monsoon zone? Well, hold your horses and park your trailer and say goodbye to scorching surfaces and leaky ceilings with Seal and Chill roof coatings. This revolutionary silicone-based coating creates a barrier against heat and wet. First, it seals the roof tighter than a drum and stops leaks before they start. Second, it reflects back nearly 90% of those nasty UV rays, keeping your trailer and barn up to 60 degrees cooler on a blistering day. Seal and Chill works its magic on trailers, RVs, barns, buildings, you name it, anything with a roof. So ditch the duct tape and the buckets and invest in long-lasting peace of mind with Seal and Chill. It's applied by pros for a flawless finish, and it's only $7.50 per square foot. That's a steal for a cooler, drier, happier trailer or barn, which means, of course, happier horses and people. Head over to wormflooring.com, that's WERM, flooring.com, and find a dealer near you. Or you can give them a call, Worm Flooring Systems, at 800-350-7564 and ask about Seal and Chill, the leak-stopping, sun-reflecting roof coating that'll turn your summertime blues into cool, refreshing tunes.
But now it's time for Study Show. So this is what we wasted our money on in the last month. And I would like to say there's some surprises in here, but there really isn't.
I get to guess, right?
Yeah,
I get to guess.
Yeah, you get to guess. Okay. So obviously the topic that's been the topic since COVID is remote work, working at home. And there's been 1,000 studies on that. Well, this study says remote work might blank as productive as once thought. More or less productive as once thought?
Being that I know people that work at home, less.
Really?
I think they're less productive because they can do like other things.
Wow, I just saw a study not long ago that said they're more productive. This one says might not be as productive as once thought.
So I was right.
You were right. You
were
correct.
So when I said the answer and you went, really? Like, I was right.
We work at home.
Right in front of your face.
We work at home and we're fairly productive.
Yeah, I work at home, but I also have to answer to lots of animals that yell at me if I don't work hard.
Yeah, I don't know about yours, but the heat's been everywhere, and it's been hot. We've been over 100 degrees the last 5 days in Florida, too. And we don't usually get over 100 degrees. And Scooter and Nigel have just been grumpy. They've just been grumpy messes. I don't know if your animals are feeling that, too, but the heat's getting everybody.
They're all mad. Yeah, they're all mad. I had to give Duke a bath over the weekend, and like he never lets me wash his face, like ever. Dude, he was like head down. I was scrubbing his forehead, spraying it with the hose. Like he just was like, thank God you're doing something. Then I have another horse who doesn't sweat. And I have pictures of him where the only thing, I have a very tiny little pond on my property, and the only thing you can see are like his ears and eyeballs and nostrils. Like he's like hovering underwater like an alligator. Just stay cool. I'm like, that's really smart actually, but he is a paint, and he's now just a black and brown paint.
Well, listeners will know that we were supposed to go away. Jennifer and I were supposed to go visit friends in North Carolina last weekend, and we decided to stay home just because Jennifer was concerned about Nigel because he didn't sweat very good either. Well, thank God she did, because he's had a couple miserable days. So we're very glad we stayed home, and I think she would have just been wearing the whole time we were going anyway. All right, next one.
A horse girl would never do that, but they never stress about their animals while they're on vacation. That is so weird. Never.
I mean, even on a good time, it's stressful, but this heat is just, we're hitting record heat here. Yeah. Which is saying something for Florida. Summer school has proven to be blank for students.
Do you know I went to summer school for 3 summers?
Really?
Yeah. But I didn't go
Was
to
it grades?
No, I went to summer school to get ahead.
Oh.
So I didn't have to. I was done with high school. No. My home life was a disaster, and I hated my life, and I wanted to move to Kentucky. So I went to 3 years in a row of summer school. So by the time senior year started, I was already done.
Oh, wow.
Didn't have anything to, so I graduated a year early. And I mean, there was like my picture was like on the wall of the summer school, like, look at what you can do. And it was easier.
Was it you and 12 delinquent students?
Totally. Yeah. It's like all my friends who failed and me. But no, I mean, I just went to get ahead. And so that's what I did. And super great. Don't remember a thing from anything. I'm pretty sure I learned nothing, but to
there
me,
you go.
I love summer school.
Ding, ding, ding. You get that one correct too. Summer school proves unproductive for students.
Oh,
yeah, because
really?
you're in there thinking about what you could be doing outside. I mean,
oh my God, it was a joke. I was like, yeah.
Yeah. Am I allowed to say delinquent anymore? Or is that a word I can't use anymore?
I don't know. I was a delinquent. I just happened to be there to get ahead.
They were delinquent when I was in school, but I'm sure that's changed. Sorry, people. It's been a long time. The next study. Studies show that breastfeeding.
I have a comment about this.
Can we do the study first?
No, because it might relate to the answer because it's the first thing I thought of. So when you have a child, the constant discussion is, are you going to breastfeed or are you not going to breastfeed? Are you going to breastfeed? You're the devil if you don't breastfeed your child. And at the same other side, like literally it's a really, really hard and painful and it sucks. So like but then it's great. It's beautiful and it sucks. So I wasn't sure, how things were going, and milk doesn't come in for like a week, and then you've got this like starving, screaming baby. And anyway, so and I was like, you can't buy formula for. Yes, you can. You can't. No, you can't. It's like the barefoot debate.
Especially
with
if you're
horses.
first, right? If it's your first child.
Yeah. And I don't know what it was doing. And anyway, so I called my sister-in-law, who's a doctor. I called her and I was like, I don't know what to do. And she was like, let me tell you, I've had 2 kids. I breastfed one and the other one was formula fed. The one that ate from the bottle, it's smarter. I was like, okay, we're good. Yeah. So there you go. So what was the study show again?
Studies show breastfeeding provides many benefits. And I swear we had studies that says it doesn't. So you're right. I mean, there you go.
It definitely does. But just the fact that she's a doctor, she's like, the one that I didn't breastfeed is smarter.
I remember my mom always said with the 4 of us, she never breastfed any of us. It was always formula. But that was the day when formula was the godsend. It was, It was going to save your children.
Yeah, but I was too cheap. I was like, why would I pay for something I get for free? Why buy the cow when you get the milk?
Yeah, there you go. Oh, here's a big surprising study that they wasted a lot of money on.
Yeah, by the way, that last study wasn't very surprising. Go ahead.
No. Drinking sugar-sweetened beverages blank the risk of certain health diseases.
It increases your risk of health diseases and obesity.
How long have we been studying soda and sugar-sweetened beverages? By the way,
Why
they didn't
is that
say
a
soda. I
study?
love how they said sugar-sweetened beverages. It increases the risk of chronic liver disease and liver cancer for older women. I guess if you're younger, you're okay. It's when you get older that you have the trouble.
Oh my gosh, what a waste of money.
I know.
Breastfeeding is good. Sugary drinks are bad. Wait, we're learning so
much today. And probably right there is $1 million for those two studies. Here's one that we've never talked about. We have never talked about prunes in the studies before. New studies show daily prune consumption
makes you poop.
Actually, it's showing that it supports cardiovascular health in an aging population. So
because they're pooping.
Older people get heart benefits apparently from daily prune consumption.
Oh my gosh, you mean vegetables and fruits are healthy? That's so weird.
I think so. Jennifer's going to live forever because she does eat prunes. She's one of the very few people I know that eats prunes as a snack.
Oh, gross.
Studies show that I was really interested in this one because there's been studies both ways on this one. It kind of goes back to the study we did earlier about working at home. Studies show that 4-day work weeks are good or bad.
I think they decrease productivity and increase morale.
Studies show that 4-day work weeks are a win-win proposition for employers and employees alike.
All right.
Employers don't seem to think that, but but I swear we've also seen it the other way. I bet you that one depends on who hired the study and paid for it, what the results are.
When I worked at State Farm, I had to work in the State Farm regional office. My dad's an agent and scored me this sweet gig at the regional office, and I hated it so much. They offered me 4 10s, which is literally 10 hours a day, 4 days in a row, but then you don't have to work 3. And so I took that. And then it did result in I was driving my car to work. And I was like, if I run my car into that tree, I don't have to go to work today.
Yeah, that's when you know you need to
And
quit.
that's when I quit. That was the last day. And then I started radio right after that. My dad said that was the stupidest thing you ever going to do in your entire life. How dare you leave State Farm, do some stupid thing like radio. Suck it, Dad.
And here you are all those years later.
By the way, nobody gets paid to ride horses either, apparently. Suck it, Dad.
I would be interested to hear from any of our listeners that do have 4-day work weeks. Is it a win-win for you and the employer? Let us know. All right, next study. Couples who do this at the same time are happier than couples who don't.
Oh my gosh, it just poop pops in my head.
You've been cleaning stalls a lot?
I don't know why it's couples to do this. I would say
usually it's sex when we do this, but
I was gonna say sex would be like
that's
what
not
I would
the answer
think
either.
Of. Okay, couples that do this at the same time. Go to sleep at the same time.
How did you know that? That's the answer. Going to
real?
bed at the same time. That was the answer. Well done. You are knocking it out of the park today.
Ooh, I'm good.
What's the one thing we always have in every study show?
Coffee or wine?
Coffee. Well, let's do coffee. New research every month. I don't think we've missed a month in 12 years. New research suggests coffee has unique
antioxidant properties.
Cognitive benefits.
Oh, well, I was trying to do something fancy, so I need to keep my streak.
You're close. It has cognitive benefits, but I swear we've seen that study before. But then there was a separate study with 2 coffee studies this month, and the separate one said it's good for your hair. Now, that's one we've never had.
Do I have to pour it on my head after
No,
I brew
apparently
it?
you're drinking it and it's good for your hair. I don't know. I don't read the studies. I did read the last one.
I don't read them. I just
read the last one, though. Oh, this one, you're going to love this one. Men with deep voices, studies show, are...
They have bigger balls.
No, that's not.
I
Well, it might be. I don't know. That wasn't this study anyway.
Men with deeper voices have higher testosterone levels? I don't know.
Well, they all kind of go together, actually. Men with deep voices are luckier in love. So they get more love than men with squeaky voices. Again, a study. I could have told you that. And you ask any woman, we could have told you that.
Voice, so.
We didn't need a study for that one. These 8 habits, I did read this one, so you don't need to guess this one. These 8 habits could add up to 24 years added to your life. And I went, okay, well, you could guess some of these.
No smoking, no drinking, no drugs, go to bed early, drink lots of water.
Yeah, you pretty much got it.
Take your vitamins.
It's a big surprise. Exercise, eat a healthy diet, reduce stress, sleep well, and foster positive social relationships.
I didn't get that one. I definitely didn't get that one.
On the flip side,
if only I could foster positive, what was it?
Social relationships, but sometimes we don't get a choice in who we get to foster with. And on the flip side, don't smoke, don't drink, and don't become addicted to opioids. Well, yeah, becoming addicted to drugs probably reduces your lifespan.
Live longer if I don't do drugs?
Yeah,
that's
apparently.
So weird.
Or drink yourself to death. Both of those are not good. Yeah. So, yeah, there you go. 8 things you should do, but it's going to add 24. So if I look at it, though, I don't exercise enough, so that one's kind of out. I'm not. No. I don't eat a healthy diet. I'm pretty stressed.
What did they say? I
don't sleep well. I don't have any of these.
As a vegetarian,
I'm going to die tomorrow.
If you are a vegetarian, you live 7 years longer than meat eaters. 7 miserable
That's what I was just going to
years.
say. I was just going to say that.
7 miserable baconless years.
I was just going to say that. And I was going to use bacon. Oh, you know me too. On that note, let's talk about food. Let's go to, I don't think there's bacon in this recipe.
There's ham in this one, though.
Jill Stanford from Cowgirl's Cook for the Great Outdoors is joining us. She's a regular guest, and we have to congratulate her on an award.
I'm so pleased to welcome back to the show Jill Stanford, our favorite cowgirl cook. And this is a new book that she has out. And I want to start by congratulating you for Cowgirl's Cook for the Great Outdoors just won the prestigious Will Rogers Medallion Award.
Thank you. I'm very excited about that.
Oh my gosh, that's great. And yeah, it recognizes outstanding achievement in Western books. And it's so exciting to have your work and your passion recognized like that.
I never ever thought that one of my cookbooks would become a finalist for this prestigious award. So I can tell you, I'm pretty excited about it. I am going to Fort Worth in October to be there. I want to meet all the other writers. It's sort of the culmination of all the work that I've done for 15 years.
That's so great. Well, congratulations. Tell us about this new book.
The new book is called, as you know, Cowgirl's Cook for the Great Outdoors. There are more than 90 recipes for picnics, potlucks, and packed lunches. Don't we all love eating outside? Even if it's in a saddlebag, even if it's in your back pocket, just being outside, enjoying something with a barbecue. If you're RVing, it really doesn't matter. I think we covered virtually everything, horse camping, everything, anything you can do outdoors. That's what the book is all about. And there's a lot of stories in it. If you've already read it, I reached out to all of my cowgirl friends for recipes, and they came through like you can't believe. I got lilac jam. I didn't know there was such a thing.
Oh my gosh.
I know it. I got some great trail mixes. I got some really, really wonderful stuff. And the stories, I think, are half of the book for sure. I think maybe that's why the people responsible for the Will Rogers chose it, because there are stories about real people in the West and what they cook and what they eat outdoors, if that makes sense.
And Jamie, you're going to be happy to know that there's a lot of vegetarian recipes in here.
Well, we are going to highlight one of those today. Wait, no, we're not.
No,
we're not going to highlight a vegetarian one today.
Now, I'm surprised, though. It's called Cowgirl's Cook. I imagine there would be bacon in every recipe in the book, but there's not. They actually do have vegetarian recipes, and I have never, ever in a cookbook seen a recipe for fiddlehead ferns. So there you go.
I know. Have you ever had fiddlehead ferns?
I don't think so.
I don't know what it is.
We, you have to have grown up in the rainforest of the Pacific Coast or Vermont to know that you can get fiddlehead ferns. They're baby shoots of fiddlehead ferns, and they're like spinach. They're like broccoli. They're like any green vegetable. They have a wonderful taste. And I grew up on Puget Sound, which was not a good place for a cowgirl to be, but I got out of there. And my mother would always gather the fiddlehead ferns. I grew up thinking everybody knew about fiddlehead ferns, and nobody did.
No.
But I found them again in Vermont when I visited a friend. And I said, "Oh, we have to buy some." And she said, "You can eat those?" And I said, "They're delicious. I think you'll like them." So it may be the only cookbook in the world that has fiddlehead ferns in it.
Aren't they the round-looking
I would
green
be surprised.
things?
Yes,
Yes.
before they straighten up and grow tall. It's the little babies. It's the little baby curls. So they're very tender and very sweet.
Well, congratulations on having the only cookbook with a fiddlehead fern recipe.
Thank you very much.
Well, what we're going to talk about today is I think this can be made vegetarian real easy. But you know what? We're going to just go through your recipe. It's a cream cheese ham and pickle roll up.
That's right. That's right. It's a spur of the moment picnic thing, and you usually have everything in your icebox for this to begin with, so it makes it very simple to have. They're very, very easy, and they're very, very good. What you need is garlic powder, and you need 8 ounces of softened cream cheese. You need 5 6-inch tortillas, a half a pound of sliced ham, and 5 crunchy dill pickles cut into spears. Doesn't that sound simple? You probably got all of that in your icebox right now anyway.
Hey, wait a minute.
So what you do is
hold on one second. Jennifer just brought me a wrap. Only it has turkey in it instead of ham, but it has the pickles, it has the cream cheese, it has all the stuff. So
you're ready to go. You're ready to go.
I just heard her say hi.
I apologize for insulting you earlier, Jennifer. Okay, you guys discuss. I'm going to try it.
I want to hear the pickle
Good
crunch
job,
over
Jennifer.
the air.
Okay, you want to hear the pickle crunch? Here it is.
Yeah, take your crunch. Take your crunch.
I don't know if it was crunchy enough to hear.
I heard a little
really
something.
good,
I heard a little crunch. I know.
So what do you do with this? You take the garlic powder and the cream cheese and you mix them, or do you spread it on top? How's it work?
No. First, you mix the garlic powder into the cream cheese until it's well incorporated, and you can mix as much as you want. That's the nice part. That's cowgirl cooking. You don't follow it by teaspoons or half a teaspoon. It's whatever tastes right. To assemble it, you spread the cream cheese mixture on a tortilla. Then you put 1 or 2 slices of ham or turkey. That's a really good idea.
Really good.
I wish I had that in the book. Onto the cream cheese, and then you put a pickle spear on top of the ham or chicken or turkey and roll it up. Repeat with the remaining tortillas. You wrap them tightly in plastic wrap and keep them cool in a container, or put a couple of cubes of ice in a second plastic bag and put them in your saddlebags, and that will keep them cold until you get to your destination. And then you just get them out and crunch away.
Are they flour tortillas or corn ones?
You can use either one you want.
Yeah, we're using corn.
I should have put that. Yeah, corn is always awfully good, and probably better for you. And I think it has a little better taste for ham or chicken or turkey.
Well, you know what I never would have put together that works so well, and I would have never guessed this, is the dill pickle with the cream cheese. It's really good.
Well, that's what cowgirls eat. I mean, seriously, I got that recipe from somebody who didn't want me to use her name, which was interesting. That happens every once in a while. But she said that she's been making these for years, and she thought everybody did. And I said, no, I don't think they do. But they're going to now.
Jamie, you could put tofu in, Jamie. It'd be fine.
Yeah. You know, I mean, I would it taste okay without any meat in it? And because I love cream cheese and I love pickles and I love tortillas.
It'd be wonderful. It'd be wonderful. You really don't need to have the meat in there at all. I would use 2 pickle spears if you're doing it that way.
Okay, well, guess
You
what
could
I'm
also
making?
add-
You know, the garlic powder helps, and you wouldn't think it would. Do you think that'd be weird? But a little bit, I don't think she put a lot on. And it just gives it that little zing. It's really good.
Okay, well, I'm making this as soon as we're done because I know I have all these ingredients in my fridge.
There you go.
There you go. I
Hey.
want to know how it turns out for you.
Jill, there's something else in the book. 2 pages after this recipe is one for cream cheese and olives. Now, yours is fancier
right.
than my mom
That's right.
used to make, but I didn't know anybody in the world. Jennifer made fun of us endlessly for this. I didn't know anybody else in the world other than my mom made this. So you have a recipe for cream cheese and olives mixed up, and then you have a couple other things. She just used cream cheese and green olives. And we put it in celery, and she always used that as a filler in celery. She always had that at Christmas and Thanksgiving, cream cheese and olives, and us kids loved it. We loved it.
That's right. That's right. As I say in the book, when my sister and I have to mention my sister Robin, she's the co-author of this book, and she was of enormous help to me, and she's going to Fort Worth with me because I couldn't have done it without her, that's for sure. This was a huge undertaking. But when we were little, a big treat was the pimento cheese spread that came in little tiny clear glass jars. Do you remember that? Am I that old?
I do.
Glenn does.
And she would make sandwiches with this spread, and then she'd wash the glasses, and they became our juice glasses. So it was actually a very good thing. But we wanted to recreate that spread because we liked it so much as little girls. So that's why we came up with the green olive and cheese sandwich spread. But we used green olive stuffed with pimentos. And you can add more than I call for in a little Worcestershire sauce. I'm not sure there was Worcestershire in the original recipe, but we added it. And we, a little trial and error, but we came up with what we think is just a perfect sandwich spread. And it's a great spread for crackers, and it would be wonderful in celery sticks, too.
Yeah.
That would be really awfully good and good for you.
I still make it for Christmas.
Did you try it?
Yeah, I still make it for Christmases, and people look at me funny that have never seen it before. Jennifer, by the way, made one for herself, and she really likes it too. I think this is going to become a staple for lunches. It's so easy to make.
I'm glad to hear that. I'm very glad to hear that.
Jamie went off to get some right now.
No, we were having a question this morning of what we couldn't find your phone number. So I was like, you know what? I'm Facebook friends with her. I'll go through. And I was looking in my messages because I was about to send you a message before he found it. And I realized that I have written you a few times. And the last time I wrote you was, that was the best potato I've ever had. Thank you so much. And so now I'm trying to remember.
I remember that.
I don't remember what the recipe was. So first of all, I'm going to have to go back and I'm looking through all of your books trying to find potato recipes so I can go buy that book because apparently it was the greatest thing I've ever had in my entire life.
You might have found that in the first book, The Cowgirls in the Kitchen. And it might have been Baked Potatoes, Cowgirls in the Kitchen. That was the first cookbook. And I'd never written a cookbook in my life. Never thought I would write a cookbook. But my editor, Aaron Turner at Two Dot, said, how do you feel about writing a cookbook? And I said, let me think about that for 2 minutes. Yes, I can do that. Actually, I had no idea how to do that. That's where my sister came in very handy. But we had a recipe in that book for baked potatoes in the slow cooker. Is that what you did?
I believe so, yes. That's it.
Because it does makes them nice and soft, and you can eat the skins and everything.
Oh, yeah.
I think that is what you did, actually. I think that was one of the last ones we did. Jamie, we need to have a cookbook, a Horses in the Morning cookbook with all these recipes people have given us over the years.
Yeah, we'll just steal all of Jill's stuff and make our own book.
That's right.
I was just going to say, I'll write it for you if you get all the recipes.
You already have.
It all together for you. I probably have. But you can't reinvent the wheel that many times. That's the problem.
Well, this is great. Where can people find all of your books?
They can find them on Amazon, or they can go to my website, which is www.jillcharlotte, that's just one word, jillcharlotte.com. And you can click on the covers, and that will take you to Amazon. Most bookstores carry them, or I hope they do. They should. And I do want to add one very funny note. I got a telephone call from the editor in May. I think it was May. And the book had just come out in May of 2023. And she said, "Congratulations, Jill. Your book has been chosen by Tractor Supply to be their summer book of, for the summer."
You're kidding.
And I thought, Tractor Supply? I've never heard of Tractor Supply. We don't have one here in Central Oregon. So I'm thinking, Tractor Supply? Are you kidding me? But I said, well, that's wonderful, because she seemed pretty excited about the whole thing. And I said, well, I'm delighted to hear that. And I thought, I'd sort of hoped for an award for, Western writing or something. That came a little later. But I'm thinking, I need to look up Tractor Supply. I did. It's huge.
It's only
They're
the biggest
all
chain
over the United
in the country.
I didn't know that. I didn't know
Oh
that
my
because I
gosh,
don't
how
have
funny.
horses anymore. I don't have chickens anymore. I don't have any livestock except a cat. And so I didn't know about Tractor Supply. I'm probably the last person in the world that didn't know about
Are
Tractor
they selling
Supply.
some books? Is
But
it selling?
if you're around a tractor, it's selling. It's selling, yeah. So that's another place you could go to get it, at your local Tractor
If
Supply.
we could only get you in Cracker Barrel now, the store, you'd be millionaire.
I know it. I know. I could just retire and never write another word. Actually, I am writing another book, and it should be out in about a year and a half. And there's no recipes in this one, but there's some great stories. So, I'm
that's
going to
awesome.
write to the end.
Well, there
Right,
you go.
right
Well,
to the end. There you go.
Hey, Jamie,
That's my motto.
There's one we have to try in here. And I want to know if you've tried this, and then we'll let you go. Jill, have you tried the Dandy Dandelion wine?
Well, of course.
Well,
Every single recipe in that book, every single recipe, each and every one was tested twice by either my sister and myself, or we had some volunteers who said, yes, that they could, that they would be very happy to try that. And dandelion wine turned out to be really wonderful. As a matter of fact, it does pack a punch. You got to be careful because,
I like it already.
yeah, you'll like it a lot. It has a great taste, and it's good for you because it's dandelion.
of course it is.
And it would be organic. It's very organic when you get right down to it.
How do
You can
you
use
find a
organic
gallon
sugar.
of picked open dandelion blossoms? That's a lot. I love how you say
You-
it's very
you
important that
pick
the
them.
flowers haven't been sprayed with weed killer. I love it. Yeah, that's probably important.
Precisely.
Just go
You
to my
find
backyard.
somebody's lawn. Yeah, well, actually, I did go right across the street because I know they don't spray because they've not only got dandelions, they've got clover, they've got all kinds of stuff growing over there. And I know that they don't spray. So I asked them if I could pick the dandelion heads, and they said they would be delighted. It would look a little better. So that's how I found them. So yeah, you have
Here's
to be very
that
careful.
crazy lady picking our flowers again to
That,
make
there
booze.
she is. What in the world is she doing? She's already made wine out of cherries and other things like that.
Well,
But no, the dandelion wine that's an old recipe. That's been made for years and years.
well, we're gonna put a link to your book in our show notes so everybody can find it there. Jill, thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it. We'll have you back soon. And by the way, my wrap is all gone.
Delightful
so
to talk to you.
I ate it
Yes,
all while
I'm
we were
glad
talking.
you liked it. Jen had
great.
said we're going to make a test on this if he likes it or doesn't like it. And I said, what if he doesn't like it? She said, he'll like it.
No, it's really good. I just would have never
And
put
I'm
the
glad
pickles
you did.
in with the cream cheese, and that was what really made it work.
Well, there you go.
Thanks, Jill.
There you go. There you go. It was nice to talk to both of you. Have a great day.
You too.
Bye.
You
Bye-bye.
too.
I really did eat it all, and Jennifer ate all hers already, too. It's so easy to make, too. There's a new lunch thing right there.
And we make these roll-ups frequently, and they are easy and tasty. And Purina feeds are easy and tasty, too, and so much more. Each horse is unique and has unique feed needs, and Purina has you covered. From breeding and growing to senior horses, from performance horses to easy keepers and everything in between, Purina has an extensive portfolio of research-backed options for your horse. There's no shortcut for quality nutrition, and cheaper isn't cheaper if it doesn't work. Put Purina's research to the test and find optimal nutrition at any level at your local Purina dealer or at purinamills.com, and you can learn more.
Well, let's head to our next guest. We have coming up Laurie Adams, who is with the Jefferson City Search and Rescue, and she teaches mounted SAR courses, which is search and rescue courses. So with everybody having their horses getting lost, we had another one here in one of the forests in Florida recently, and I've read a couple of articles about it. So what happens? What happens if you come off and your horse heads out and leaves you behind? So that's what we're going to talk about today. Well, hi, Laurie. Thank you for joining us on the show.
Hi. Great to be here.
Now, where are you at? Where are you located in the world?
We are in Central Oregon and close to Bend, but we're west of that up in the mountains of the Cascades.
And what?
In a little town called Camp Sherman.
Camp Sherman. And you're with one of the search and rescues up there, right?
Yes. I have been with two different counties. Jefferson County is the one that I've most recently am associated with and worked with.
And you guys have some serious trail riding up there. That's for darn sure. So,
yes. We have peaks that are over 10,000 feet, and we can we get up at least to the 8,000, 9,000 foot level on horseback.
Wow. I don't know that I've been that high on foot, let alone on horseback. So how did you become involved in SAR with search and rescue?
I started actually with my kids. We live along a wild and scenic river that is very cold, and then we have the 10,000 foot mountains and the Pacific Crest Trail. All are within a very short distance of our little town. And the response for search and rescue to find people or injured people, lost people, was well over about a 3-hour response. And so our local deputy with the sheriff's office started a search and rescue team, and we're called a hasty team because we'll be at the point of last seen, or where the incident where the last person saw them, within an hour. And so we're able to mobilize, and then we're all a full spectrum. So many of the teams in the areas specialize. So they'll have a special team that's mounted, a special team that's swift water, a special team that was high angle. And we were trained in all of those areas just because we'd be the very first response. And my kids were in high school, and they had a junior program, and I helped out with that. I had been very involved with teaching and with the local little 2-room schoolhouse, so tiny little schoolhouse, and we were able to get them part of it, and then just continued on, and it gave them a real sense of empowerment and that they could survive, and it taught them so much, and then also gave them an experience of seeing real consequences to bad decisions.
Yeah, that's unfortunately true, right? Yeah. So
that's how I got started.
What do you carry? So you get a call, somebody's missing, maybe somebody on the PCT or whatever, maybe not even, let's go with not a horse person first. Then I want to talk to you about what I do if I'm out in the woods and my horse gets loose. But you're responding to a call. What kind of equipment do you bring with you on the horse?
On the horse, basically what we have is what's called a 24-hour pack. And if it's not a horse person, we're usually on the horse team. So they'll be what we call ground pounders or on foot. But on the horse team, we're sent out because we can mobilize pretty quickly because we're close. And we do what's called a 24-hour pack, which means we have enough to take care of us and a subject for 24 hours. We have food, water, and then we don't really add a whole lot for the horse. We add a little bit of just some basic medical stuff, but the horses will know the area well enough where we can get the to water or food, but they can go for 24 hours. And we're sent out to do, if we don't know where they are, we can cover 25. We usually do it I've got gaited horses, so we do that, or a fast trot, and to get out into areas to see if we can find any tracks, or to kind of get them what we would call containment. And many times on that containment, we can find the people if they're lost. If it's an injured person, then we can usually get there, and we'll take a medic with us and have them ride in, because it just saves them having their heavy medic bag, and they can help us stabilize the patient. We can either transport them where they could be transported helicopter, or we'll transport them all the way out.
Now, are you seeing people, are most of them lost, or do we have people getting injured because they fall down a hill, or what do you see most?
Well, we used to see a whole lot more lost people. Now that the phones, because they didn't have phones, they would get disoriented. And one of the things I say is the most dangerous thing is to go to the bathroom in the woods, because we find a lot of people will go farther away because they want to have privacy, and they don't take all of their a compass or anything, and they'll try to get over a hill and then do their business, but they oftentimes will not remember where they came from. So they'll head down over the hill thinking they're going back to camp. And so we would find them in lots of times in drainage.
How do you explain that to your friends? I lose my car in the grocery store parking lot. I can't imagine that.
and so, but now people with their phones, we can usually ping them. We've gotten to the point of being able to when they call in and they're lost, if that's the case, then we can either walk them through it, or we can get within a good distance of where they are. So I would say we still have some people that get lost because their phones, they rely on their phones, their electronics, and don't know how to use a map and compass, or don't take a compass. Mm-hmm. But those are fewer, and more of the people are getting injured. They hurt themselves, they trip, they fall, they break an ankle. And so I would say more of what we're doing now is injury. So we know basically where they are. They've been able to call us, pretty much pinpoint where they end up. And then we'll find, we go out and help with that.
Let's change gears now and go back to horses. Okay. So I'm out riding with my friend, and my horse dumps me out there at 8,000 feet, and then my horse disappears, and I don't see it again, and I'm on foot, and my friend's riding. What do you recommend? Or I'm alone. Either way, so, we don't recommend. Yeah. We obviously don't recommend people ride alone in situations like when you're that far in the backcountry. But I'm out with somebody, and I lose my horse. What should I do first?
The very first thing is when there's a whole thing of to prevent it, but if you do,
let's go to right. If we do,
if we do, the first thing is to try to not chase them. They will most likely, particularly if there's another horse there, they will not go too far. It's when you're out by yourself that they will head on home, depending on what happens. So the important thing is to stay calm, to call someone at the trailhead or where you left, because they have an incredible sense of smell and direction, and they will go back to the trailhead. They'll try to get back to the trailhead if they're not chased or they get in the panic mode. If they're in that thinking space, they're going to go, oh, I know where food is, and I know back to the trail. So not chasing them. Many times, if you can get your friend with a horse, do a big circle and see if you can kind of get between them and the trail. So that person would circle around, but contacting, if you can, get somebody back at the trail, so trailhead or something, so they can entice the horse back in.
And if there's nobody at the trailhead, and so do you recommend then we don't see it around the area where we are? We're just headed off back down the trail. So do you recommend then that we head back to the trailers and look for it there? Assume that's the first place it's going to go?
That's going to be the first place to go.
Okay.
And at that point, I would always take a GPS or on your phone or whatever, getting the location of where you are. The horses will typically travel on a cleared area. So unless they're chased, they're not going to go out through the woods. So you'll typically have a trail. So you want to, if you have your phone or a camera, you'll want to look for their tracks, take a picture of those tracks, and then go back down the trail. Like I said, if it's at all possible, not always, because lots of these trails are in valleys, but if you can have the other rider, have the person's horse that's horseless walk the trail quietly, and have the other rider kind of do a big loop around and see if they can cut the horse off. But yes, she would be going back to the trailer, because that's going to be most obvious. The only difference is if there is a big meadow or there's a big lake or they're thirsty, those are on your way. That would be another good spot to check it out and look and see. And again, trying to not chase, not staying very calm, and getting your horse back together with you by enticing them into the other horse, because they're herd animals and they're going to want to be with their herd. And depending on how you came off or what happened when you did come off, if there was issues with you and your horse, but they will definitely come back to another herd, another horse,
so,
and hopefully you're part of that herd.
So if I get back, we only have limited time, so I want to cover this part too.
Right,
so if I get back to the trailer and they're not there, and we're the horse isn't there, does a search and rescue like yours actually look for horses, or are you only people?
Well, typically, depending on what's going on, it's always a great idea to call the sheriff's office, because the sheriff's office they're the ones that dispatch the search and rescue, and they also will be able to let other people know, the Forest Service, those kinds of things, and they can expedite it. The forest, so calling and reporting that you have a lost horse is your first one to the sheriff's office, and they will decide whether or not to deploy it. Many times, if in areas where ours are, they will deploy the mounted team, not necessarily their whole team, but they will deploy their mounted team, because we know how to go ahead and get them. We'll get llamas and things like that. And they will have us deploy, because we know that these are important to people. They're of significant investment. And if we don't, then people do not as smart things out in the woods, trying to find. And then you have a lost person, because they've gone out and kind of willy-nilly gone out and tried to find it. So,
Gotcha.
So it is up to the sheriff, and then if you know of any mounted, oftentimes posses, but mounted search and rescues are are a good resource, but the sheriff would deploy them or call them, and it wouldn't be an official. It would say, hey, could you go help these people out?
All right, good. Well, we've run out of time. Where can people go to learn more about? Is there a resource, a website, or something where they can learn more about this?
There is. We have it. We do training on mounted search and rescue, and it's called Essential Mounted Search and Rescue, SAR. And that's where we do training for mounted search and rescue, and that is a Facebook page, and we have a website that's it's essentialmountedsearchandrescue.org.
That's what I have here too. Yep, and we'll put links to those in our show notes as well. Thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it.
What a fascinating group of people. Well, maybe your horse needs a little rescuing? Let Cosequin help you out. Cosequin ASU joint and hoof pellets contain quality ingredients to support joint and hoof health and leave out the fillers in molasses and alfalfa, all while delivering the taste horses love. The colors of our ingredients shine through for a difference you can see. Visit CosequinEquine.com.
So have you ever been in a situation where you lost your horse?
I refuse to answer that question so I don't jinx myself.
Gotcha.
But it was so hard for me to not jump in with this weird news story, but she sounded so educated and like I didn't want to throw her off. It sounded very informative, the interview you were doing.
Well, there are a lot of our people that ride in the woods. That's why to get it out
once
there.
we get to weird news, it'll all make sense. It was so hard for me. I just want you to know I had to mute myself so I wouldn't interrupt your actual informative interview.
Jamie has this habit sometimes with the wrong guests, with the serious guests of interrupting with silly stuff, and it totally throws them off.
I've just learned to not do that.
It's taken her 3,000 episodes, but she's gotten it.
You should be really proud of me.
I was. And you know what? When I know you're being quiet is when I know you're dying inside.
Dang. Just hit the news button and I'll tell you.
Let me find it.
Time to learn why some days you're embarrassed to be part of the human race. In Jamie's Weird News.
I wanted to ask her so many questions because so there is in Mastic, New York, a bull that has been on the loose since last
Like a cow bull? Like that kind of bull?
Like a bull, like a moo cow bull,
got it.
but it's not a cow bull, it's just a bull. He's 1,500 pounds. He's now nicknamed Barney. He escaped from a farm on Barnes Road, broke through a fence at 8 a.m. in the morning, Glenn, because why do you think he left?
Because there were girls in the next field?
No.
No?
He was supposed to be sacrificed in a religious ceremony.
What?
And he's like,
we do that still?
Well, apparently people sacrifice bulls for religious ceremonies.
Where was this?
This is in New York and Long Island.
Oh, I was picturing like Bulgaria.
No, this is in New York. It's a farm outside of Long Island. And this bull, this is all in the news. This is all people are talking about in Long Island right now. And Suffolk County Police Department, they have responded to so many 911 calls about this bull being loose. And there's a lot of water where he is, and he's in a very heavily wooded brush area, so he's not starving. They're just doing everything to try to capture this bull. Okay, Glenn. So, and this is what I wanted to ask her, but I stopped myself. I thought you'd be very proud.
Do you search for bulls? Is that going to be your question?
Yeah. Well, some of the questions, some of the things they've done to try to apprehend Barney includes they went back to his farm and put some of the feed he's used to out to try to trap him. Nope. Then they put treats to lure him in.
He knows.
Nope. They built a portable corral that they have a rope attached to the gate. So if he walks into a portable corral, they're just going to pull the string and the door shuts. Guess what? Nope. So here's their most recent thing. And now this is from a Long Island newspaper. This is not an ag.
The fact that this is in Long Island cracks me up.
This is what they have done to let everybody to really try to capture him. They took Norma Jean. Norma Jean is a cow.
The prettiest cow in the neighborhood.
a normal.
I just picture her with big cartoon eyelashes.
Yeah, exactly. A normal animal person would say they put a cow in heat in a pen, trying to lure him into the pen. Well, because this is a Long Island newspaper, this is what they wrote. This new effort comes after the unsuccessful attempt of employing a menstruating cow named Norma Jean. What?
I think that's different, isn't it?
Let's put this cow on her period into this pen and see if we can capture Barney. A menstruating cow. I love that my husband just walked in the door and I'm talking about a cow on her period.
I didn't even know there were cows on Long Island. I'm still stuck on that one.
Well, apparently, they just keep them around for, their random religious
ceremonies. Can you picture this thing walking across those $1 million lawns of those seafront properties eating the bushes?
Well, they have pictures of it. They have video and pictures. People's Ring doorbells are catching this bull. And he has shut down the freeway at one point. I mean, this is like a really, really big deal in Long Island. And so they had to find a menstruating cow. But guess what? He didn't fall for your crap, Norma Jean. He knows women in trouble.
That's for the cow. That's for the bull.
Way to go, Barney. Now, just so you know, the update on this is he is still on the loose. Has not been captured.
Good job.
So what I wanted to ask her with the search and rescue, would you ever put a menstruating horse in a pen?
This was killing you, wasn't it? It was so... Anybody who's listened to the show knows this was killing you.
Do you see why I stopped? I had to mute my own microphone.
This was so killing you the whole time.
Great. Well, let's go. Let me start with the beginning of Weird News. Which is to let everybody know all these stories are actual stories that have been sent to me by listeners. I used to have to find them, but now y'all find them because you see a story that you're reading in your newsfeed and you go, God, that's really weird. And then you email it to jamie@horseradionetwork.com with weird news in the subject line. Now we've had 2 weeks, so we have a lot of people that sent weird news, including Andrew, Jolynn, Laureen, Ina, Anna, Rochelle, Scott, Jennifer, and Alyssa, and some of you sent multiple stories. So what if I don't get to it today? I'll try to get to it next week because these are just too good. But dude, I just want you to give me a round of applause for the fact that I did not talk to the lady. Okay, moving on. Next one. Head to Ohio. We're keeping it local, Glenn. We're keeping it in the U.S. today. We're going to go to Ohio because this woman, there's a video of an intersection camera, and this woman goes 100 miles an hour through an intersection, clips a car. Apparently, she hit multiple cars, a utility pole, and a house, and she had her kid in the back seat. Okay, her 11-year-old child in the back seat, and just starts driving. Apparently, she suffered some bouts of, as she says, trials and tribulations. She was recently fired from her job, so she put her kid in the car and just decided to start driving. She starts driving. She hits 100 miles an hour, and she's like, you know what? Jesus, take the wheel. Jesus, take the wheel, take it from my hands.
Carrie's a little better at that.
She literally just let go of the steering wheel and said, Jesus is going to take the wheel. Oh, yeah.
With the kids in the car?
With one kid in the car. And the good news is the kid is fine and all the people she hit are fine. It did end. Jesus did not take the wheel when she was heading to the giant house that she ended up running into. So Jesus let her down at the end there when she ran into the house. But again, the children are fine. They protected her kid in the back, but she has now been arrested and is arrested on many charges.
As far as I know, people, Carrie Underwood is not a saint, and she is not commanding you to do that.
I'm telling you, that is the most dangerous song ever let on to people ever.
It's not a commandment. It's a song.
Anyway, Jesus.
It's metaphorical.
It's metaphorical. It was on the same album as I dug my keys
That's right.
into the side fence. So Jesus can take the wheel as long as he doesn't take the wheel of my ex-boyfriend who's now in a bar with another girl because I'm going to take a baseball bat to his headlights. She literally says that in the next song. Carry on. Next one. Sorry.
I did it already 3 times. Go ahead.
Well,
I was trying to stop you from singing, but it didn't work.
You can't stop passion. Put that on a t-shirt. All right, let's go to Oklahoma now. Okay, I'm going to give you a little dose of Oklahoma because there is this is up in Tulsa, and Lorraine Graves was part of the Tulsa Police Department's weekly Most Wanted campaign. So the Tulsa Police Department posts that they're looking for Lorraine Graves and posts a picture of her. Lorraine Graves is charged with accessory to murder. She was involved in the city's homicide and blah, 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 and goes on and posts her picture and says, Most Wanted. Well, Lorraine Graves saw it. And Lorraine Graves, not being the smartest human in the world, posts and makes a comment underneath the post. Where's the reward money at?
She wants her own reward.
Her comment, perhaps unsurprisingly, sparked a lot of reaction on social media. Including things to be saying, girl, you better stay off social media. They can track you. And somebody else wrote, ain't going to be as funny when you get processed. Well, guess what?
They found her.
Day, Lorraine Graves was arrested at her apartment north of Tulsa.
Yeah, no kidding.
Okay, that's Oklahoma for you. Let me hit the sound.
That sounded like a Florida story. You're starting to steal our stories.
Which one would you like first? We have 2 more stories. Which one would you prefer? Florida woman or Florida man?
I'm going with Florida woman because they're always naked.
Oh my God, how did you know?
Because they're always naked. That's what, every Florida woman story, they're naked. Every Florida man story, they're in somebody else's house.
Well, we'll get to Florida. No, just Florida men are crazy. Florida women, yep, they're naked. So there was a man who lived at his house, and he noticed that something was amiss. He looked outside and he said, "Well, why are there clothes strewn across my yard?" He looked at his front window and he's like, "There's some pants. There's a shirt. There's a bra. There's some panties." His yard. He's like, that's weird. Then he walked to his back door and he spotted what he says, the naked stranger in his pool. Yes. Heather Kennedy, 42 years old.
That never happens at my house.
Don't worry. You don't want this one to happen.
Oh, did you see her mugshot? Please tell me she was gorgeous.
Oh,
my guess is not.
She was probably pretty about 400 meth doses ago.
Oh, yeah.
Other than that, she's gorgeous. So
this is her thing, just swimming in other people's pools?
She was arrested, facing charges of trespass, and guess what? Resisting an officer.
Oh, no kidding. She fought the officer. That big surprise there.
Do you think they had to get her out of the pool with like one of those nets? That's all I can envision.
Or those snake harness things.
Yeah.
Alligator catcher.
Here, kitty. Come over here. We'll get you get the leaves.
She resisted, didn't she? She was loving the pool. It was lovely. It's hot here.
It must have been that.
Cool.
It must have been the fact that she just didn't want to leave the pool. I'm sure that was it. No meth on board at all.
Was this the first pool she had slept in? My guess is not. Or swam in? My guess is not. No.
You know how they identified her? Because she wouldn't give them their name.
Of course.
So she's like, my name is Jane
My name is Florida woman.
And so they took her in, and the police said they were, quote, they were able to identify her through previous jail booking photos.
No kidding. Yeah, no kidding. Big surprise there.
Yeah. All right. Last one. This is actually where my mom lives. This happened. My brother lives. And to be honest, I looked at the picture to make sure it wasn't my brother because it's a little insane. We're going to head up to St. Augustine,
Is this your twin
Florida.
you're talking about?
My twin brother lives in St. Augustine. I actually got married on the beach in St. Augustine. And it's
a beautiful town. It is a beautiful town. Yeah.
Beautiful beaches. But if you see one of these, just walk away. Just walk away. So a Florida man decided that he was going to raise money. And this is his quote. My goal is to not only raise money for homeless people, it's to raise money for the Coast Guard, raise money for the police department, raise money for the fire department.
Very noble of him.
He's going to raise a lot of money. How he's going to do that, Glenn, is I'm going to try to describe the contraption. Okay. It's like a metal cylinder that could have a man standing up. Okay. A metal cylinder. And then there's like two, say, big giant Ferris wheel type things on either side, which are full of balloons. So there's like wheels on the side of this giant cylinder, giant welded metal cylinder. The thing must be at least 15 feet tall, 20 feet tall. And it's a metal cylinder with these two balloon things on the side, like balloons stacked on top of each other, fit into a circle into these wheels. Okay. I'm probably not doing good, but you can Google this.
I did. I found the picture. It's a bizarre looking contraption.
Florida man bubble vessel.
I did.
It's Florida man bubble vessel. That's what it is. Oh, how would you describe it?
They call it a hamster wheel.
Okay. That's good. And there's
a large hamster wheel with like red balloonies on the outside.
It's like a big giant hamster wheel.
Yeah.
And what happened was he decided he was going to head out, disembark from St. Augustine.
Into the ocean?
He was going to into the ocean by running in this hamster wheel because the bubbles have like little paddles attached.
It's not powered? He was going to run in it?
He's going to run. He's going to run this hamster wheel. And he set off from St. Augustine and he was going to head to New York, which is 1,000 miles north in the ocean. His name is Reza Baluchi of Central Florida. And he was attempting to run in his floating. Oh, I'm sorry. No, he was not going to New York. He was going from Florida to Bermuda, or he was going to travel north up the coast, all to raise money.
Whichever the way the current took him.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm going to go north or south, depending on which way the ocean. I'm just going to keep
Did
running.
he bring anything along, like food and stuff, water?
One day, I just felt like running. I don't know. It just reminded me. Yes, he did. He did prepare for the journey, Glenn, by taking, I believe it was Gatorade, Cliff Bars, bubblegum, and tuna in a can were his items that he was going to take. Now, so he headed out on Saturday morning to make this trip north or south, depending which way the wind blew. As fast as the wind blows. Okay, like you just the Forrest Gump won't stop. I can't stop. So how long do you think he made it?
Oh, you mean how many hours or how many days?
How many days do you think he made it? Because it was going to take like 100 days.
Yeah, it would take a while. I hope he had more than a few Cliff Bars. I'm guessing he made it 24 hours just because the thing probably floated for that long.
We're going to give him 8. He actually got washed up on shore a little further down in Florida. Apparently, he has a history, Glenn. He has been rescued, quote, several times in previous years after setting off inside his hydro bubble. The station reported. So he keeps trying. By God, Florida man, you just give.
He's like a poor man's Jeff Bezos, isn't he? It's like
is it Jeff Bezos? No, because I would say he's like the poor man's. Who's the Evil Knievel?
Oh, yeah. This thing actually looks like he spent some time putting it together, though.
Yeah, I mean, I could see this as like one of those like bicycles that you rent, at a lake.
Yes.
Where there's like no wind.
And it's pretty shark proof. The cage looks pretty solid. I mean, I don't think the shark's going to get him.
Well, as somebody said that he was attempting to prove Darwin's theory and he came very close. And there you have it.
I hope they start charging him for all these rescues. He really needs to pay for them.
Apparently, it didn't take much because you just watched him back on the beach a couple miles south. give this one to you, man.
It's good he didn't end up in a current out there about 10 miles out, right? I mean, they would have never found him.
He was ready for that, Glenn. He was ready for it because he had his Cliff Bars and cans of tuna and Gatorade.
That's true. That's true. He would have been feeding them to the sharks pretty soon. Well, there we go. That was a good batch. That was a good batch, everybody. Thank you for sending Jamie. Where do they send the good batch of good stuff to you?
Send the weird news to jamie@horseradionetwork.com. Don't worry, I won't tell which one's yours because nobody needs to know your business. Just send it to me. I'll keep it on the DL. I'll say your first name, and that's all I'm going to give away. And if you don't want me to do that, fine. Tell me. I won't. I probably will because I'll forget. But for the most part, just, let me have them.
See you, everybody.
Spay, neuter, geld.